Now that's beautiful. Now don't I look pretty?
A roller set necessity, an antique hair hazard, the hooded hairdryer. To be honest, I hadn't given a lot of thought to the hood dryer I use. I did invest in the industrial one that I use for my clients and tutorials. I wish it came in pink, but for my personal at-home use, I just really hadn't given it much thought. My hair is short and fine, and I live in dry Colorado, so those factors combined make my drying time relatively short. But now I live in a world where people, you for instance, actually want recommendations from me for hood dryers. And I should probably stop just pointing to web pages that look like they fit the bill because it looks like something I use at home. So I went on a hooded hairdryer quest, searching for the best options. I bought, tested, and now I'm here to share which ones are really worth it. After peeling open some packaging, I have reconsidered how I look at hood dryers. But first, because if you know me and my love for all things vintage beauty, we're going to talk about old stuff, namely old hair dryers. A French hairdresser is given credit for inventing the first salon hood hairdryer in 1888. It was essentially gas-powered heat released through a flue. Although I found earlier mentions of salon hair drying systems. This 1884 ad for Madame de Montgiant's in DC mentions the de Montgiant hygienic hair dryer, and a patent search led me to this 1883 invention for a, quote, device for exposing hair to the action of heated vapors. Sounds like a heated hair dryer, but I can't verify if any of these had a hood system. The first electric fans are also invented in the 1880s, but putting them together to create hot current to dry hair is still a few years away. Over the 1900s and 1910s, the salon hood hairdryer evolved. Electricity is what really makes this possible, because now non-toxic heat can be created with electricity, and the heat can be transferred through forced air from some type of electric fan. In the very early 1900s, the home use hairdryer invention was still in its infancy. I found these, quote, home hairdryer products. The Princess hairdryer and burnisher ad is from 1895. It is just a metal container that you fill with boiling water and then brush your hair. Presumably, the idea is the heat from the hot water evaporates the water in your hair. Here's another product using the same concept of a brush heated with boiling water that was advertised well through the 1900s. It must have been a good seller. And then someone thought to take an electric pressing comb and try to sell it as a hair drying tool. By the way, never use a hot tool like a straightener or a curling iron on your hair unless it is dry. It's so bad for your hair. It's generally accepted that the handheld home use hairdryer became available around 1920. But I did find advertisements for them dating back as early as 1909. This model generated heat through a resistance coil and used fan technology to force the air. 1920s Popular Mechanics magazines had these suggestions to dry your hair at home. This handheld heater you just hold near your head, I guess to cook the water out of your hair. This funnel-like system you attach to a fan. So airflow, no heat. This handy little attachment you make at home, you just attach it to your vacuum cleaner. Oh boy. But wait, you can have both airflow and heat at home. Attach a hose to your vacuum cleaner. I'm not suggesting this. Attach a hose to your vacuum cleaner, attach the other end to an asbestos box that contains your toaster. And then another hose comes out the other side and voila, heat and airflow. So many good decisions are being made here. But hood hair dryers mainly remained a salon tool. They were big, they were made of metal, they were very heavy, so not very practical to have at home. The home hood dryer really started to take off in the mid to late 1950s. With the post-war development of plastics that can withstand the heat created by a hair dryer, it made it possible to make these at-home options. I need to add a word of caution to anyone who might find one of these classic hood dryers at an antique store or online. By all means, you can buy one of these and enjoy it for its vintage design and display it for its beauty, but these hair dryers were often lined inside with asbestos, which is very dangerous if it is released into the air you breathe. I would avoid turning these dryers on and using them to dry your hair. There's just no guarantee that they're safe.
Well, now that we got that disclaimer out of the way, wouldn't it be great if I could actually heed my own warning? I've had this dryer for a few years and never turned it on, mostly out of fear. It just sits in a corner looking beautiful. But for your entertainment, I thought, now's as good a time as any. I know so little about this. It's the Shelton Master Hair Dryer. From what I could find online, the Shelton Electric Company made all kinds of things, including handheld hair dryers. Here's an ad for one from 1912. They made violet ray generators. I don't even really understand what these are, honestly. They're supposed to be good for you. Yep, just for personal massage. An automatic electric towel, just a early version of the hand dryer in bathrooms. I don't know what's going to happen when I plug it in because so the directions are cold, both switches off. Warm, one switch on only. Hot, both switches on. Okay, so these are the switches. Right now they're both, if I turn it on, it's just going to go to cold, which I feel safer about, at least for my first run. But there's no on-off switch. Like there's no off switch on this thing. So did they just plug it in and that's what turns it on? Well, we're going to find out. The fan motor inside is quite powerful looking. That's a lot more heavy duty than your basic new plastic hood hair dryer. The inside looks like a hand death trap. Thank God there's that little screen there. This could be very anticlimactic. We'll see. Nothing's happening. Well, all of that for nothing. Oh. Well, the heater obviously still works. Oh God, I can smell the burning dust. Yep, there it is. Burning dust. And who knows what else. Okay, so the heating element still works, but not the fan. I don't know. Maybe I can find somebody in town that'll get that fan working again. Boo. Oh well.
Although I shouldn't be surprised at the lack of detail there was in so many online listings. You can really tell sometimes that the people who advertise these products don't actually use these products. I have come to learn that the modern home hood hairdryer can be wildly different in design. And yes, it makes a difference. Trust me, it makes a difference. So these represent the three kind of hood dryers that I wanted to test out. The soft bonnet dryer that attaches to your handheld hair dryer. The soft bonnet dryer that comes attached to its own hair drying unit. And then of course, the hard hood home dryer for home use, as opposed to the heavy duty ones for the salon. Let's first discuss the soft bonnet attaches to your handheld hairdryer version. I bought 3. I picked out 2 and then I started questioning myself and I ended up getting a 3rd one, and I'm so glad I did because the 3rd one ended up being so much better than the other 2, and it's like, how can these 3 things be so different from each other? Well, let me tell you what they all have. They all have the chin strap. They all have the drawstring. Both of these things, I highly recommend you make sure that they have those 2 things. So the Grand Tiva and the Tepinar, these 2 have kind of like soft extra lining piece right at the edge, which is really nice. The Beauté Soleil unfortunately does not have that, but that's not even my gripe. Of these 3, and this is not something that was very clear in their online listing, when you turn them inside out, the Grand Tiva and the Beauté Soleil, the holes for the air in the hood, they're all concentrated up at the top. When you turn it on, all the hot air comes out like up here, and nothing comes up around here. And so when I first got them, I'm like, okay, well, maybe that's better. Maybe that's better. I'll try it out. Maybe you don't want the heat around here. Oh no, You do want holes all over the place. And so the Temponar, with the most unfortunate font, has the holes all over on the inside, except for right at the ears, which is good. And I'll tell you, it made a huge difference in my comfort level, because what happened, I'll just show you. I have to switch the microphone because otherwise you're not going to be able to hear me over the dryer. I have to do this. So on this one where the holes are all concentrated up here, I turn it on to the medium heat, and it really takes like a matter of 30 seconds for it to start getting really hot right up here on the crown of my head. Like, ow. Like, I'm already ow. Like, I'm stopping. So moving on, the Temponar. This one has the holes all evenly distributed throughout the interior. Lots of room inside for big rollers if you need it. So I turn it up to medium heat. I think you're really supposed to use these at like no heat, low heat. And it's even. The heat distribution is even. It makes such a huge difference in how much more comfortable this one is compared to the other one. All of my rollers are getting air circulation. So this is my winner. And unfortunately, with a lot of the descriptions online, they're not very clear on what the interior hole distribution is. So I'm going to leave a link to this one down in the description, and so you'll know that like this one is the better one. Moving on to the soft bonnet that comes with a drying unit attached to it. The classic style that we've seen so many times in old Sunbeam advertisements from the 1950s and 1960s. I love this classic look. Okay, I picked this one out for a couple of reasons. The first one being that it does have multiple settings. It has a cool, low, medium, and high setting on it. The way that these also work, it has little compartments for storage. So like the soft bonnet, you take it off and it goes in this little space down here along with the cord. It stores taking up a relatively little space. It's the Golden Hot brand, and I'm a fan of that brand. It's been around for decades. They make it in a white as well. I went for black just because that's just where my brain goes. And then I love that it has this little bit of rose gold pink on it too. So we're gonna give this one a whirl. The elastic is rather tight. I'm trying to figure out what's the best way to put this on. It's roomy on the inside. The elastic, that's gonna mark. It's tight. I have an idea. I hope I don't regret this decision. So I just stole the drawstring from one of those other soft bonnets that I'm not ever going to use. And I've attached a tiny little safety pin to the end of the string. I'm going to feed it through and turn this elastic situation in this bonnet into a drawstring situation. I continue to feed the safety pin through until I have gotten the string all the way around. I then feed the two ends of the string back through the drawstring clasp and tie the ends together. All right, let's try this again. Look at that. This is going to be better, and I'm not really sure why I'm so excited about it, but I am. So we're going to start in the cool setting. The air isn't strong. I don't know if that's the right word to use for it. It's low flow, and turning it to low doesn't increase the air circulation. Neither does turning it to medium or high. It just stays the same air circulation level. It's just getting warmer. This might be a really nice option if you are sensitive. That sounds weird, but like maybe if it gives you like a headache or something, this might be a good option. The heat level is nice. Now that I've replaced the elastic with the drawstring, it is so much more comfortable around my face. It's very roomy on the inside, and I have it on the highest setting, and it's still quite comfortable. It's not too hot. It's not uncomfortably hot. So yes, if you're willing to put in that little extra effort to do some sort of a drawstring situation. That was uncomfortable, and my face, when I have like a shower cap or anything on my forehead, I'm really prone to marking that lasts forever. And look how easy it comes off now. And then it's handy dandy compact. Does it annoy you when I do that? It kind of annoys me when people do that online, like the fingernail tap thing. How do I say this really quickly? This is the one. There are multiple versions of this available online. I know I had to screen through so many of them. Let me tell you, the most important thing you need to look for when you are purchasing one of these dryers. So many of those dryers are not going to give you an even dry. Much like the soft bonnet dryer that I loved, the holes surround the head. So many of the dryers that I looked at online, all of the holes, what happens is when you're sitting in the dryer, when all of those holes are right up at the top, all of the air circulation is just coming around all of the rollers that are at the crown of your head. And then the back of your head has some of the healthiest, strongest hair. It takes the longest to dry because it's the least porous, because it's the thickest. When all of the air is coming from just the top, these curls aren't going to dry. It's going to take forever and ever. You want the air circulation to surround your entire head evenly. If you have one of these little task chairs where you can raise and lower yourself, I can get myself actually even a little bit higher in here. So now I'm going to get the most efficient dry. It also has multiple settings for low, medium, and high. Let me point out to you that this little button right here, this is what it does. I don't use it this way. Here's where this is problematic. Let me lower my little task chair. When you get your head underneath, now all of the holes are up towards the top of my head, and this little back section of my hair is not getting any air. I keep it at an angle like this. If you don't have the space for it, by all means, the little soft bonnet that you attach to your hair dryer works great. It really does. The Golden Hot, not as much air circulation as what you're going to get with the soft bonnet, with the handheld dryer, or with this. But the Golden Hot doesn't take up a lot of storage room. And then if you really are go big or go home kind of person, this is a great option. I love this thing. Thanks for watching today's video. I hope you found it entertaining. I hope you learned something. And if you like it, give it a thumbs up. And maybe send it to a friend who could also use the information.
Wait till you get to 85 like me. How old are you?
80.
Oh, I can give you 5 years. So you've a lot of good living to do yet.
I hope so.
Thanks for watching.